Okay, everyone, so this is Fern. He's our family's Mexican feathergrass. The common name is the Mexican feathergrass. Their official scientific name is Nacella tenuissima, which is kind of a unique one. They also go by other names such as the firestem needlegrass. You can see they've got very fine needle-like fibers at the top known as tassels. Or they're also known as the Argentine needlegrass. They are native to southwestern U.S., northern Mexico, and Argentina. He's in the full sun right now, as you can tell. They require full sun. They're a desert growing plant. They live in arid conditions best. So the Mexican feathergrass, they average about 1 to 2 feet. He's a little smaller at his top, highest little tassel up here. It's maybe about 1.5 feet. He's still pretty young, only about 10 years old though. They can live up to about 20. They're supposed to be full done with their growing by about 10 years old, which I don't know if I see it. He's been stuck here for a while at this size. Sorry guys, I'm trying to figure out what order I should go in with all this. So these guys spread out a lot. As you can see, this is like fern here, and then here are other ferns. He does grow quite a bit. This is the original OG, if you will. But they grow out, they're considered a pest. Even though they're native, they can be considered invasive, they can be considered a pest because they will grow out and they can outcompete other native plants and resources for their nutrients and whatnot. These guys are interesting because they can reproduce sexually through pollen. They also have these little, here I'll try and get one. Seeds. It's really hard to see and I can't see too well, but you guys see those little tiny bumps at the end? Those are the little seeds, and they have kind of like a twirl or like a whirl kind of shape that they'll get caught by the wind, and that is actually how they disperse. However, they also can have asexual reproduction through these little organs called rhizomes, not ribosomes, called rhizomes. There are these horizontal roots that grow underneath the surface, parallel to the ground, that poke up other little ferns. And as you can see here, he's got quite a few rhizomes going. Fern's going good. So rhizomes can be found in a lot of different species of plants, such as ferns, which evidential from fern, even things like bamboo. That's why bamboo forests are so prevalent, and also in foods that we eat like ginger. Mexican feathergrass, they don't serve too much of a purpose for regards to like food-wise for humans. A lot of native wildlife do actually eat them and enjoy them, and they also provide little homes, I suppose you could say, for wildlife. Like field mice will come and live in here, lizards will come and live in here during the warmer months. But yeah, Mexican feathergrass are very popular in xeriscaping. That's spelled with an X though. The point of xeriscaping is to conserve water, so obviously they're going to opt for a lot of drought-tolerant plants, which Mexican feathergrass is one of them. They live in sandy or rocky soil, which is kind of evidenced here. This is more sandy rather than rocky, but they live in sandy or rocky soils really well. They need nitrogen. That's one of their most prominent nutrients that they will need because it enables their metabolic growth for proteins, enzymes, and their little chlorophyll. So the bigger they get, the older they get, the more so they start to lose their color kind of. They'll always have this dry kind of looking yellow, I suppose. New babies will have this bright little green tufts. They have more chlorophyll as they're younger. More they age, the bigger they get. They tend to lose it up higher by the tassels. So they don't often survive indoors. They're a ground-only plant, if that makes sense. They don't grow well in pots either. Trust me, we've tried. And they grow best in warmer months. So during the summer you'll see them, especially during monsoon season. You'll see a lot of these little guys starting to sprout up in the fields. That's why you kind of see some of that green. Aside from it also making the grass green, you'll also see little Mexican feathergrasses and other types of ferns coming up. So they're relatively, like I mentioned, aside from the native wildlife, they're essentially useless these days to humans other than for aesthetic purposes. But over the past couple hundred years, kind of stopped about 70 to 80 years ago, they think, these guys were used to make baskets for indigenous peoples. They think that they used to weave them, and I can see that. They're pretty tough and fibery, sinewy. They can definitely weave together, so that's really cool. Nowadays, unfortunately, they're mostly ornamental little plants. They do well, but like I mentioned, they spread out quite a bit with their rhizomes, and I can definitely see how they are seen as invasive or pests at times. But this is the Mexican feathergrass. They're really cool, really fun. I'm sorry, I've never been like behind a camera like this.